All right, welcome to another roundtable session. Today, we are excited to host a presentation and a discussion around the investment banking opportunities at UBS. So UBS is one of our customers. We have a range of mentors who are both on the trading side as well as the investment banking side of UBS joining us today to discuss opportunities at UBS, as well as just what it's like to get into a career in investment banking. So my name is Kunal. I'm one of the community managers here at Mentor Spaces. Really excited to kick off this conversation. We are going to host this as a roundtable session. So if you have any questions or comments to share with the panelists as they're sharing their perspective on their careers, feel free to go ahead and raise your hand and we can unmute you, or post any of your questions or comments inside the chat. We'll also have some interactive poll questions throughout this session, so please engage in those when they pop up on your screen. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Randy, who's our guest moderator. He'll be moderating the discussion with Andersen, and let's see if Jonathan has been able to address his audio issues. Can you hear us, Jonathan? Okay, we can not hear you, but I'm sure you can hear us, and yeah, we'll have to figure it out. What Andersen did was he called in through Skype using his dial-in, so see if you can try to do that. I'm glad you can hear us though, so I'll pass it over to Randy to kick off his background information, and I'll pull up a couple of slides on the speakers here today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kunal. Very excited to be here today. I'm anxious to learn a little more about investment banking myself. By background and training, I am an organizational behavioralist, and my area of focus or expertise is mentoring. And I've worked with many organizations to help them build mentoring programs and mentoring cultures. And I'm really pleased and proud to be here today on this call, which is, to me, the height of the concept behind a book I wrote called Modern Mentoring, where we can be more flexible and agile in the way that we learn from the lived experiences of others. And today we do have a couple mentors with us. We're for sure going to hear from Andersen, and hopefully we can get Jonathan patched in here in his audio. And we also, as Kunal mentioned, have Maria on the line who helps to support this program. So with that said, let's go over to Jonathan and find out a little bit about you and your background. Or sorry, let's go over to Andersen. I apologize.
Sure. So my name's Andersen Shen, and I work at UBS within the Emerging Markets, FX, and Rates Trading Group. I've been with the firm for 5 years now. I came up through the internship program, and I've been focused the entire time on emerging markets. I've traded Asian markets as well as Latin American markets, and I currently focus on Korea, Hong Kong, and India in a market maker capacity.
Fantastic. So if you don't mind, Andersen, as we get into some of the questions, if you want to also bring in a little bit, maybe from your experience in the intern program too. We may have some students on the line who want to make themselves available for an internship, and maybe you can share some of that experience as well.
Yep, definitely happy to answer any questions about the internship.
All right, and it looks like we also have another mentor panelist here. We have Matthew Decker. So Matthew, we're just introducing ourselves to the audience. If you would take a few moments and let us know a little bit about your role within UBS and how long you've been with the organization.
Sorry about that. My video doesn't seem to be working here.
Yeah, your audio is breaking up a little bit too. Try again.
Now, is that okay?
You may need to exit the the Zoom via our server and connect outside of the server via your phone, maybe.
Okay.
All right. So we'll get back to Matthew here as he reconnects his audio. Hey, Maria, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Good,
well, let's
good
go
to
ahead.
see you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Andersen, if you would, take a few moments and explain to some of the people who are out there in the audience listening a little bit about what does an investment banker do? What's a day in the life like? A little bit about your role and your position.
Sure. So to start, I think it's important to break up an investment bank into two primary groups, one being what's known at UBS as global banking, and the other half being what's known at UBS as global markets. Global markets is known elsewhere sometimes as sales and trading. So I work in that space as a trader, and both salespeople and traders are very involved with following different markets, managing risk, at least on the trading side, and talking to institutional clients all day long. So institutional clients are basically clients that are hedge funds, asset managers, pension funds, corporates, basically anything that's not necessarily a retail investor. So within UBS specifically, even ultra high net worth global family office clients can be classified as institutional clients. Now, in terms of a typical day, because I trade FX, my day really never ends. The market's always open. So I typically come in around 6:30 to 7, where I get on a call with my colleagues in Singapore and London, and we discuss what happened in markets overnight. And this helps me formulate my views on what my clients will do during the New York session, as well as how I might want to position the bank's risk and inventory. Now, from there on, I am the primary market maker and risk taker of my product. And so I am actively talking to portfolio managers, execution traders on the buy side, and also managing my risk based on what sort of flows I either quote manually or see as a function of the electronic franchise. Now, around noon, London goes home and I take over the residual of the currencies that they market make there, such as the Russian ruble, South African rand, and then my day extends doing more or less the same work, although it's a bit quieter after London leaves, so I tend to try and read some economic research and formulate some longer term views or narratives that I might want to talk to my clients about. And then we do that for the rest of the day up until 6 p.m., where a trader from Singapore will come in and we'll repeat the process whereby I talk about the risks and flows that I saw during my day, and then I leave and hand over the market making responsibilities to my colleagues in Singapore.
Fantastic. Thanks for that high level overview. We're going to dig into a little bit more in just a few moments, but I see that we have Matthew, you've been able to connect with us. So why don't you first of all just take a few moments, introduce yourself, a little bit about your journey, and then tell us what the day in the life is like for you as an investment banker, and what is your area of specialty or focus?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name's Matt. Just joined the firm in January, so not too long ago. Prior to that, I was an officer in the Marine Corps, and I joined the firm through a sort of less conventional way, known as a Veterans Associate Program, sort of a internship for veterans transitioning out of the service and interested in financial services. I interned both in the investment bank within leverage finance and financial sponsors, and in asset management in real estate private markets. And currently I sit full-time in the financial sponsors group, which easy way to describe it is if banking is in some form of connecting people with capital to people that need capital, the financial sponsors group is specifically servicing a type of client called private equity that need like purchases companies through a specific type of transaction that utilizes a lot of debt and specific types of loans. So my day-to-day is generally spent modeling the ability of companies to pay back loans that we would consider fronting them to buy other companies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much. Andersen, you've been with the organization for a while now. What was your journey like going through the intern program and then into the career path? And have you done the same thing while you've been in UBS once you've became an employee?
So in the time that I've worked as an employee, I've done more or less the same thing. I've traded different currencies, different markets, and different regions, but I have been a trader the entire time. Now, something interesting about the internship in global markets is that it's rotational. And really, a rotational internship in global markets can span any sort of interest within finance, right? There are roles that are pure sales, there are roles that are pure trading, and there's an entire spectrum in between. So I rotated between exotic equity derivative structuring, credit trading, and FX trading. And ultimately, I liked FX trading the best. I liked the people the best. I thought it was the fastest paced market and product, and that's why I came back full time.
Great. Thank you so much. And Jon, do we now have you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I have an echo. So I'm going to try to do this as best I can without my headset. So hopefully I'll be able to hear you as well.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Great. So I'm sorry. If you could start again. I was a little focused on trying to get set up. I was having a little audio and video issues. It seems to be a UBS internal situation. So Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, let's, for those who are listening in, just give us an idea of a little bit about you, Jon, what your role in the organization is, and a little bit of what maybe the day in the life is like for you as an investment banker.
Sure. So, my role is a little bit different. It's more on the sales and trading side, but my history and my background has been a client of the investment bank because I spent most of my career on the asset management side, dealing with more public equities and capital markets deals. I came to UBS about 6 months ago to build out a new platform called Execution Hub in the United States. And so what we do is we service trade execution in an outsourced platform for investment managers that want to have a trading desk within, well, let's call it outside of their business. And so we help manage the trade execution process within the investment bank for firms that want to trade, but don't necessarily want to hire a platform internally. So we basically service clients of the investment bank on the hedge fund side, on the asset management side.
So what I'm hearing, and thanks so much for that, Jon. So I'm hearing that we have 3 mentors on the call, and all 3 of you do something different in the arena of investment banking. Am I correct on that?
Very clearly different areas, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I guess what I would want the people listening in to know is that if you're interested in investment banking, there are lots of different domain skills that you can apply towards this profession. And maybe by just a quick background, if all 3 of the panelists, we know, Matt, you had mentioned that you came through the Marine Corps. So I myself was ex-military. I did 10 years working on nuclear reactor systems on submarines, but then made that transition out of the military and into, I went into nonprofit before I got into consulting. But for you, you were able to leverage your experience or understanding of your Marine Corps, your experience there, and leverage that into investment banking. Was that an easy transition for you, or how did that go?
I guess maybe one of the most daunting, thinking back to like just last year when I was still sort of deciding what roles in financial services I was interested in, one of the most sort of daunting tasks for me was sort of deciding like what I wanted to do. You know, I knew I wanted to work in finance and something connected to fixed income securities, but you know, I think from the outside looking in, it could be hard to decipher sort of which roles sort of might fit your personality better. And one thing I learned a lot through having the opportunity to do a rotational program. One of my rotations was in a group where I would be doing long projects for solo projects for a 3 or 4 months at a time. And the group where I currently sit in, I might work on 5 or 6 or 7 projects at a time that are all shorter in duration. And this is just a little point that maybe something I didn't really think about a lot that would affect, I guess, how interested I'd be in a role. But it's something that I really love about the current role I'm sitting now, is I get to see a lot of different sort of get exposed to a lot of different things early on, as opposed to more research intensive.
Good. So you were able to, through the internship program, that gave you broad exposure to the disciplines and practices, and you were able to kind of pick a line, or at least, you know, you when you were hired in, you now have a broader understanding of what the professional focus is of investment banking.
Sure.
But and it sounds like you feel pretty confident about what you're doing. You enjoy it.
I'm really enjoying the role that I'm in right now. I think one of the coolest parts about just being somebody new in investment banking is, I guess, how many things you get to see that you wouldn't be able to see on your own, I guess, as far as like transactions and hearing senior people just talk about deals or whether or not something made sense or not. And finance in general seems like a very apprenticeship sort of journey, as opposed to something that you can study and learn on your own. And I think UBS is a great place to learn.
And so there's also, what I'm hearing from that, Matt, is that there's a good degree of collaboration with your colleagues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of tribal wisdom that's getting shared.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Jon, over to you, because I think you have an interesting role as well. So you are providing support services. Is that my understanding, for the actual traders themselves? Or?
So basically, my background has been a trader in various multi-asset areas. From starting off, I actually also served in the military before I came to Wall Street. And thank you both for your service. I think this business likes both military and team sport players, because it checks a box, right, of weeding out that you're able to collaborate and you may have some grit, and those are 2 things I think are very important in investment banking business. When we talk about and think about investment banking, it's not just raising money for clients. There's a whole bunch of different areas within the bank that deal with servicing clients, whether it's sales and trading or asset management or different areas that we sort of cover. My background has always been in trading. I was a client of UBS for many, many years, and an opportunity came up to build a business within the firm. And so I'm building a global trading desk, hiring people who handle trade execution in equities, fixed income, foreign exchange. And basically what we're going to be doing is working with the internal sales teams. And when you think about the internal sales teams of UBS on the investment banking side, there are people that cover asset managers or investment managers, and they deal on the institutional sales. We also have middle market salespeople. We have a prime brokerage division, and so the people that sell prime brokerage services, which is basically clearing and storing money and doing financing for firms that are in the investment management business. And then we also have capital introduction, which helps firms that want to manage money raise money. So all of those client bases potentially have a use for the type of business that I have. And so while we'll be servicing clients for trade execution, my team will also be not only a client of UBS's sales and trading division, because we're going to be trading with them as a counterparty, but also other banks, investment firms, sales and trading firms in the street. So we want to go out and get the best execution, the best price for our client. So while UBS will be in the mix of that, we'll be speaking to other banks as well. So not only will we have UBS clients as our client, but we'll be a client of the street as well. So it's sort of like a middleman, middlewoman, if you will, basically sales and trading division within the investment bank. And so that services our clients and fills a gap where there might be a need, but other parts of the bank don't necessarily have the ability to do that.
Certainly sounds fascinating. Andersen, if you would, what did you study in school? Did you study finance or how? And I guess my broader question for the mentors here is, what areas or disciplines of study should someone who gets into investment banking, how do you get here? What are some of the different kind of stories on how you ended up where you are? Andersen?
So I studied applied economics and public policy analysis, which is very close to finance. And I actually expected to see more people from a finance background in my world, but I would say that most people in my space come from STEM backgrounds, be it, math, some form of science. We've had physicists on the desk. We've had people with more pure software engineering backgrounds on desk, or just straight mathematicians on the desk. But my personal background is applied economics.
Great. Thank you so much for that. How about over to you, Matt? Your background as far as from an education standpoint, and again, your colleagues that you're interacting with, where are they coming from?
I studied math with emphasis in computer science in undergrad at Carnegie Mellon University. One thing that's actually really surprised me a lot is how broad, sort of diverse the as far as what people study for their backgrounds in school. It's definitely skewed towards finance as far as the other new hires that I've met, but people have, I know somebody who majored in history and somebody who majored in computer science as well. So I think it's pretty broad.
Great. Thank you so much. Jon, your background?
Sure. I studied economics in school. I think when we think about the type of people that come into this business, and I do a lot of mentoring with college students. In fact, I put together a platform with a group of college students called Zheng Union. And what we do is we try to take earlier the better students. A lot of the people that we deal with are first generation Americans, and what they know that they want to study finance. They don't necessarily know all the divisions and what goes on within an investment bank, and they don't necessarily know the path with recruiting to get internships, etc. And so most of the students that I deal with are very concentrated with a finance, math, or accounting background. Obviously, they need to have great grades and they need to study, but when you're looking for an internship in investment banking proper, there may be certain types of models that you need to study or be aware of when you're going to that interview process versus interviewing for a sales and trading type of role, or interviewing for a general sales role. So I think, as a student, having a general finance, accounting, math, economics background is a great platform. But I do think that you want to think about outside the box and even outside your studies on your own, working with some people or working with career development or working with mentors that can help you focus on, if it's a DCF model, that may be the thing that you want to focus on. If it's general markets or having an opinion on stocks or bonds or derivatives, when you're going to an interview, having that sort of understanding. But I think in general, having a finance background is probably the path of least resistance. But I think to Matt's point, there are a lot of people that have different backgrounds. And I think if you really want to focus, regardless of what your major was, you can still pick up some of those other courses. Even coding is very important right now. So, you can go outside of your discipline and still get a potential role in an investment bank, but you do want to make sure that you stay focused on the core area that you're looking to interview.
All right, thank you so much, John. I'm going to give Maria a few moments to just jump in here and talk a little bit about, what are some of the kind of opportunities that are currently available within UBS right now in investment banking. If you want to get into this field of endeavor as a profession. Also, I just want to highlight, I think John brought up something that's really important. It's why we're here today, is that mentoring, connecting with somebody in the know who's on the inside is one of the most valuable things that you can do to really determine, is this the right path for you or not? And if so, exactly how do you tackle it? Because it really is a little bit like build your own bear. It is a broad profession where there's lots of opportunities. So speaking to somebody who knows can really help inform you, as well as become that inside person who can also avail opportunity to you. So Maria, do you want to chime in for a moment here?
Absolutely. So depending on who you are and where are you in your journey, I should say, the idea is that you apply to the different programs. So for freshmen and sophomores, we have a program called our UBS Tomorrow's Talent Program. That's an early accelerator for all of our divisions, including investment banking. We'll be able to send you this information afterwards. And the deadline for freshmen is October 31st, so you still have time. For sophomores, we open Tomorrow's Talent in the spring, so you're way earlier, or it's early in the game. And then when it comes to the actual internship programs for investment banking for juniors, we already closed out the applications. As you may hear in banks, we hire really early for investment banking. So those usually open in the springtime, whereas the rest of employers may hire in the fall. And we do offer opportunities in the fall, including global markets and wealth management, asset management. So right now we have one sophomore internship for global banking open within investment banking. And then for juniors, we have two global market internship opportunities available, one in sales and trading and the other one in the quantitative trading team. So the deadlines for those are actually this Friday. So I definitely recommend you apply as soon as you can, and we'll be able to share those links afterwards. That way you can take advantage of the opportunity. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, and are there other openings that, let's say we have someone on the line who's finishing up an MBA and looking to make a career pivot?
Absolutely.
There are openings there as well, correct?
Yes, we actually have an MBA program for investment banking, and that's the associate program. There's a summer version and a full-time version. So you can check ubs.com/careers. I also have the links, Randy, if you want me to send those over.
Yeah, thank you so much. We need to close out our session today. Thank you very much, mentors, for contributing your lived experience. Hopefully everyone on the phone gathered some new insight. And Kanal has put an assessment out there for you, a quick survey. And if you want to connect with these mentors or any others within the UBS space and create your build your social capital and make connections with people on the inside, they are there and available for that, and we can help make those connections. Kanal, over to you as we end our time here.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate the time and contributions. And next time around, we'll make sure that we can get everybody's perspective shared and ensure that we have enough time for these discussions. But really awesome conversation here. If any of the panel participants here want to connect with one of the mentors on this panel, feel free to message us in the concierge channel inside the app. It is just a tab there on your screen. Let us know who you want to connect with, and we'll make that introduction for a one-on-one conversation based off of their time and availability. And mentors will be sharing, what time blocks that they're available for a mentoring conversation. And if they're available and had another mentee, they'll be able to connect with you. So look forward to connecting folks on a one-on-one basis after this conversation. And really, supporting any underrepresented professional who's looking to get into investment banking, as it's a very, niche industry that requires people knowing people. So we're happy to make those introductions. With that, we'll go ahead and close this out. We do have another UBS session happening in November. So look out for notifications around that. This is going to be about their technology division. and any careers within tech at UBS. So feel free to message us if you're interested in that session as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you
great
so
rest-
much.
Thank you, team.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, John. Thanks, Anderson.
Bye-bye.